Here's a mini review for a very mini-sized game. What Remains of Edith Finch is a walking simulator that got recommended to me a few times because I really liked playing The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. Walking simulator. You know, I think I like the term a lot less than I like the term Metroidvania. It sounds too reductive. It doesn't respect what the game designers were trying to create with these types of games. Although, I'm gonna be honest, I can't think of a different name for the genre. Sometimes trailers will call them narrative experiences, but really, any game with a story that stays very present throughout can be called a narrative experience. You can't call that a genre. Oh, I know. How about exploration through narrative? No, that's more like a description rather than a genre, but you know what? I'm gonna go with that for a little while. If I describe the gameplay of games like this one as exploration through narrative, I really think you get the gist of it. There is no combat and pretty much no puzzle solving in the traditional sense. You play as a titular character who is visiting her old family house after many years since it was abandoned. The Finch family is a very peculiar one, as you find out. She was raised by a mom who was extremely secretive about the family's past. Edith is given a key by her mom after her passing, and this is the day she decided to go back and try and find out everything she could about the Finch family stories, or the truth behind those. The game pretty much guides you through where you have to go, not literally on rails, but it progresses very much like it is. If you played any point-and-click adventure game before, it's pretty much an evolution of that. Admittedly, there is less to click here, plus no inventory management, but that's only because they put so much detail on building every room that just looking around and sometimes closely at objects, photos, and books, you're already being told a lot about who lived there. That's one of the best parts about these so-called walk-in sims. The scenario and the locations themselves are designed to silently tell a story. All bedrooms in the house are sealed, and getting to them involves uncovering secret passages hidden around the house. I say uncover, but the game locks your progression. Those paths will be usable after you read the next story. Well, not so much read as experience. Every story is told to you in a different way, some more interactive than others, each one with a lot of surreal imaginative storytelling. The text is often written from the point of view of that member of the Finch family, but the facts are all masked behind the absurd fictional touches. Even the conclusion of what happened are left somewhat vague. This is done by design so the player has to figure out what really happened on their own. There is always some truth behind those crazy narrations and events, as the numerous gravestones outside the house show. The game is short, takes less than 3 hours to complete. It wouldn't be fair to spoil much more in a game that pretty much exists exclusively to tell you its story. My complaint is something that's very personal. In video games I require at least a few dozens of challenges serving as roadblocks for the narrative progression. Those challenges don't necessarily need to be difficult, but I gotta have that feeling the game is asking me, if you can't figure out how to make it past this, we're not letting you continue. What Remains of Edith Finch seriously lacks in that department. It's not lacking the interactivity that any video game needs to have, but I never felt like I was being asked to try anything. I have the freedom of looking around the rooms I step in, but the game is still holding my hand the entire time and giving me the illusion I have any sort of agency other than walking forward. Like the session where you control a cat. Sure, you can jump to a spot the game doesn't tell you to go, but if you do that, nothing happens, and it's a second-long detour at best. The jump itself is also semi-automated. This series of sections are actually the closest thing to such challenges in Edith Finch, by the way. It gets a little better towards the end of this particular sub-story, but I don't think the gameplay in the other stories are anywhere near this level. And that's kind of a problem. I don't expect this game to offer 3D platforming, RPG or first-person action, but I just miss being given full agency, then using that to clear an obstacle. Like I said, that's a very personal complaint. When judging a game, you have to consider what it was trying to do, rather than what you wanted it to do. There are merits in both, but one clearly should be weighing more over the other. My personal enjoyment wasn't great because I need more than a good narrative, no matter how good it is, to stay engaged in a video game. But the story and music direction are incredible. If you're an emotional person, expect to cry once or twice and think about where you are with your own family. The quirky, almost lemony snicket-esque peculiarities will make sure the narrative doesn't get downright depressing. That said, this game achieved nearly everything it set out to do, and it's going to please every fan of the genre. As long as you know what to get into, there is no way you'll be disappointed. Thanks for watching and take care.